The topic under discussion today is going to be malaria, and this topic is going to be explained in a very simple and easy way. How, like, very simple, just concentrate. Today we'll talk about the malaria, cause of the malaria, and the types of the malarial parasites, and after that we'll be talking about the very important point, life cycle of the malarial parasite, or one can also say that we'll talk about the life cycle of the plasmodium, and after that we'll be talking about the symptoms like fever, anemia, and splenomegaly due to malaria. We'll cover these all points and we'll talk in a very simple and easy way. Let's start this easy discussion and conceptual discussion from the very first point. Cause. What is the cause of malaria? A question. Very simple answer. The cause is mosquito. No, my dears, it is not going to be the cause. It is actually the vehicle, car, for the agent that is actually responsible to cause malaria. In simple words, what is the cause of malaria? The cause of malaria is plasmodium. It is not mosquito. Mosquito is actually the vehicle, car, in which this plasmodium will sit, and then this mosquito will carry this plasmodium to the human beings, and then by means of the mosquito, plasmodium will be injected into the circulatory system of the humans, and after that it will start its job. In short, now what is the cause of malaria? The cause of malaria is plasmodium, and the car which plasmodium uses, that is the mosquito. So in biological terms, we call this mosquito as a vector, which is helping plasmodium to reach to particular place. That is us, we, the human being. Okay. Now let's come towards the second point, the types of the malarial parasites. Now the question is, how many types are there of the malarial parasites? Very simple. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of the malarial parasites. Number 1, vivax. It is also known as Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale. Some people pronounce this as like ovale. So Plasmodium vivax, ovale, falciparum, malariae, knowlesi, the very recent one, the newly discovered one. Okay, these are the types of the malarial parasites. Now let's come towards the very point, that is the life cycle of the malarial parasite, or one can also say that the life cycle of plasmodium. The plasmodium, when it is in the mouth of the mosquito, it is named as sporozoite, and the structure is just like this, a flat structure. Okay, now this sporozoite, by means of this mosquito, will be injected into the circulatory system, so it will come to the blood. Okay, now from the blood it will move directly towards the liver in the very first attempt. As this sporozoite is injected by this mosquito, this sporozoite will enter the blood, and now it will not stay for a longer period of time in this blood, in the circulatory system. It will start moving towards the liver. And here in the liver, as it reaches the liver cell, it will change its shape into this type, like circular type. This is then named as a schizont. So many circular shapes will be formed, then those will be named as schizonts. Okay, and in the meanwhile, this sporozoite may undergo sleep condition that is known as hypnozoite. Very simple. Sporozoite will enter into the circulatory system. Then from here it will move to the liver cells, where it will change morphologically. Structure will be changed like this, which is named as schizont. And in the meanwhile, this sporozoite may undergo the sleep condition that is then named as hypnozoite. So a sporozoite may be converted into schizont or hypnozoite. Hypnozoite will stay in the liver. It will be a kind dormant in a sleep condition. So after a long period of time, it may awake, and it will again undergo this from a morphological change, then that will be named as again schizont. So simply what is going to happen now? Very simple. Sporozoite will come to the blood, from the blood it will come to the liver cells, and in here its pharmacological structure will change, then it will be named as schizont. Okay, schizont. And we got the concept of a haplozoite. This haplozoite again can come and synthesize schizones. Now these schizones will undergo the process of division. Here what is happening? There will be the nuclear synthesis. Multiple nuclei will be synthesized. Okay. Now this process of multiple nucleus formation is named as schizogony. Schizones will undergo the process of multiple nucleus division, that is named as schizogony. Now during this condition, during this state, multiple nuclei are produced. Then those are actually named as merozoites. Those are named as merozoites. Then these merozoites will be released from the hepatocytes, from the cells of the liver, and after that these merozoites will come towards the blood. And here in the blood, they will find erythrocytes, red blood cell. Inside the red blood cell, they will undergo the ring stage, during which it is actually nourishing. It is taking the nutrients from the surrounding. Now this stage, in which it is taking the nutrients, that is named as tropozoite. What? Tropozoite. Now don't confuse yourself with the names. Just have tricks to memorize these names in a very easy way. Now what is going to be the trick here? Very simple. Tropozoite, consider this like trophozoite. Tropho is like feeding. Now this tropozoite is also somehow like feeding because it is taking the nutrients. So just guess what? This is tropozoite, in which it is just feeding. Got it. Now in this stage, what is this tropozoite going to do? It has got two paths. Number one, these tropozoites will be released, and then they are actually responsible to infect other RBCs, red blood cells. Okay. And in the meanwhile, they can synthesize male and female gametes. Very simple. When the gametes are synthesized, what will happen? In the first part, they will infect other RBCs, and the same process will continue. And in the second way, when the gametes are synthesized, now these gametes are available in the circulatory system. What is happening now, in the meanwhile, is again, if the anopheles approach the humans, this infected human, what will it do then? It will suck the blood, and in the blood, those gametes will be sucked. Now these sucked gametes will be fused. So like this, what will happen? The fused gametes will form zygote, and after the zygote formation, the oocysts will be synthesized, and again they will synthesize the sporozoites. So in short, the asexual reproduction takes place in the human, and the sexual reproduction takes place in the mosquito. Very simple. Now what happened? Sporozoites are synthesized again when these gametes are fused, and then again the sporozoites are formed. Now these sporozoites are again available to be injected into someone else and to infect again the next one. So like this, the pathway continues. Sporozoites get entry into the blood. Mosquito, by means of mosquito, sporozoites will get entry into the blood. From the blood, they will move towards the liver for the very first time, and in the liver, they will synthesize schizones. And in the meanwhile, they may undergo a sleep condition known as hypnozoite condition. Then those again, they are responsible to come back and synthesize schizones after a long period of time. Then those schizones will undergo the process of schizogony. Multiple nuclei will be synthesized, which are named as merozoites. Then those merozoites will be released, and in the meanwhile, they will be destroying the liver cells. As they are released, they will get their way towards the blood, and inside the blood, they will find the RBCs, and they will infect those RBCs. In that stage, they are named as tropozoites. So like this, they're coming back towards the blood. Now here in the blood, they have got two ways. Number one, to infect more new RBCs, and to synthesize gametes, to produce gametes. Then those gametes will be taken again back by the mosquito, and in that mosquito, those gametes will be fused. Again, the new sporozoites will be synthesized at the end. Now that sporozoite will be free to be injected into the next human, and like this, it will infect the next human. That's it, simple, to the point understanding regarding life cycle. I hope you got. Well, if still you have any confusion, you can drop that confusion in the comment box. Now let's come towards the symptoms, like how the fever, anemia, and splenomegaly is seen in the malarial patient. Very simple. Is this plasmodium approaches the blood cells, there the hemoglobin is available for this plasmodium. This plasmodium will split the hemoglobin into heme and globin. The globin will be utilized and the heme is remaining here. This heme will be converted into hematine, and now this hematine is available, which is actually a kind of toxic for the plasmodium. So in the meanwhile, plasmodium has its own enzymes which will convert this hematine into hemozoin. This hemozoin is actually now toxic for the humans. So hematine or heme only is toxic for the plasmodium, whereas hemozoin is toxic for the humans. Very simple. Now this hemozoin, which is synthesized, it is then going to be responsible cause for the fever, anemia, and splenomegaly. We can understand that hemozoin will cause the fever, it will cause the anemia because it is breaking the RBCs. And in the meanwhile, how it is causing splenomegaly? Very simple. You know about the spleen, which is actually a graveyard for the RBCs. So now in the meanwhile, what is happening? Several RBCs are destroyed. These RBCs will be moving towards the spleen. Now the spleen, which is a graveyard, so all these dead RBCs will be shifted towards the graveyard. So now this graveyard will become full. After filling, what will happen then? If there is no more any space and still there is an inflow of the dead red blood cells, so what will happen? Then the size of the spleen will change, will be enlarged. That is actually named as splenomegaly. I hope you got the concept. So like this, the plasmodium is responsible to cause fever, anemia, and splenomegaly.